I'm here to talk to you about. You guys can hear me? All right. I'm here to talk to you about AI agents and how they change the game for IT and network operations. So we're going to try to make this quick. We're going to try to make it successful. I welcome questions afterwards. All right, so let's start with the problem. So the main problem that we have, this is a problem that's actually a well-known problem. It is this attention that networks and IT systems tend to generate a lot of data, and no human being is able to stay on top of it. Data is just simply too much for a person to keep track of. So this is clearly a problem. We have information fatigue, information overload, and so we're trying to find a solution for that. Before we get too deep, I want to talk about some of the AI jargon, because I know you guys have been seeing a lot of AI stuff and a lot of AI content throughout this entire conference, and I never take for granted that people understand what all of these words mean, so we're going to take a brief moment to go over some of those key basics. And the first one I want to talk to you about is the large language model, the LLM. You're going to just spit out the term LLM, assuming I got the basically, LLM just thinks ChatGPT. Think about this new, relatively recent way of artificial intelligence that allows you to talk to it in natural language. It responds to your natural language, and it seems to do so in an intelligent and human-like way. That's the LLM. You're going to hear a lot about tools. What is a tool? A tool is a lot closer to what you would think of a traditional software system. A tool is a piece of software that executes a task. It doesn't have to be fancy. It can be very simple tools, something like a web search tool or something like a tool that runs a mathematical calculation for you. Those are tools. And that brings us to AI agents. AI agents is when you take an LLM and you give it a bunch of tools and a mission and a task, then you have an agent. An agent is an LLM that has access to tools and is trying to execute on a task. And then you'll hear about MCP. And MCP is the latest buzzword in AI. It stands for the Model Context Protocol, and basically is simply a way for an AI agent to learn about the tools that it has access to and how to use them and what to expect from them. So think about it, if you've ever tried to integrate with an API, you go to the website, you look at the API documentations, and go through all the endpoints that are available, and try to understand what parameters you should be passing, what the format of the response should look like. All that homework that you do when you try to integrate with an API, MCP does that for an LLM, for an agent. It says, here you go, here's my tools, here's how you call them, here's what you do. All right, so let's talk about, before we talk about how we're going to revolutionize IT network operations, let's talk a little bit about what AI agents are not able to fix for you. AI agents are not a magic bullet, they're not able to do everything, and there's some things that they're notoriously bad at. So what you have to remember is that for the AI agent to be successful, you do have to have control over the data. You have to have a very strong data governance and data management practice. AI agents are not particularly good at running calculations and doing mathematically precise operations. So it's not going to. I hear a lot of people talking about AI agents as being these magical tools that are going to be able to do analysis of anomalies and correlate all sorts of things. And it's just not something that the agents themselves are good at by themselves. So you still have a place for data science, a very critical place for data science, and you still have a place for good old-fashioned software, because that's how you write these tools. It's using good old-fashioned software engineering techniques. So what actually changes the game in AI with AI agents is the fact that an AI agent is able to do some things that, even though it's human-like in its capabilities, it's able to do certain things that you would never even ask humans to do. Most importantly, I think, to me, is that these AIs are able to tackle problems on a scale and on a repetitive basis that human beings you could never fathom them for. So this isn't really, strictly speaking, doing a human's job. This is doing a job that a human should be good at, but isn't necessarily good at. For example, if you told a human being, I want you to check every single configuration of all of these 1,000 devices and tell me which ones are compliant or non-compliant with some security policy, I don't know a single human being, or even a single team of human beings, that would actually read the entire configuration line by line and compare it to the policy line by line. But AIs do that. So this is actually a game changer. It doesn't just replace what you're doing with something else. It lets you do things you never would have even considered doing before. And that is a level up in what you can do. Right? You can do things like go through entire log files. You can do things like take the outcomes and the outputs of all of that really sophisticated machine learning that you have in your tooling, and then say, for example, I have a machine learning tool that told me that something was breaking the usual patterns. I detected an anomaly. Okay, great. Thank you for telling me that. But you detected 14 anomalies. Which ones should I actually care about? Well, maybe that requires an understanding of what the business cares about. Maybe that requires an understanding of what our policies are about. This kind of understanding is not something that traditional tools are good at doing by themselves. So you're actually combining language understanding with an evaluation of some outputs and some tools to make a judgment call and say, out of all the anomalies that I spotted, you should pay attention to these ones. This is very, very important and transformative capability that we have right now. And so, just real briefly, I mean, at Fabrix, this is being a data company and a data-first company. What we have is we have an infrastructure that is dedicated to the ingestion and the processing and analysis of data, and we have tooling that is able to manipulate and automate on that data. So what we talked about earlier was that you have an agent who's an LLM that has access to data and tools and is given a task. Well, it turns out that at Fabrix we have all of that. We have the infrastructure in doing that. So the agent piece is actually not the hard part. The hard part is giving the agent the context that it needs to make smart choices. If you think about the LLM is, you've probably heard the tidbit, right? It's a fancy autocomplete. But basically, if I say to you, roses are red, you'll probably respond, violets are blue. Unless, before I say roses are red, I say, you are a chromatology expert. And then I say roses are red, and you will say, because they have red pigment and red lights. Your actual answer depends on the context that surrounds the thing that you're responding to. And LLMs work like that. So tools give LLMs, and therefore agents, the context that they need in order to be effective. And we get that at Fabrix, and we get how to do this in an enterprise environment, reliably, repeatedly, with guardrails, with safety checks, and with traceability and observability. So, come check out our agents. I've got a screenshot of one of our agents for you right here. Our agents are real, they're here, and they're ready to demo. Come and see us. Thank you.